Hello and welcome to the Blansko Klobása podcast with your hosts, me, Craggy.
And me, Ralph, and Wingy, who's not here today.
No, there is a third Klobása and we will have him on soon. Anyway, this is something of a pilot episode, I guess we can say, where we're talking about all the stuff that we do on the blog, bringing it to the podcast.
Yeah, tell me what's on the show.
Well, today we're going to be talking a little bit about us, the Blansko Klobása. Mm-hmm. We'll be talking about ground hopping, what happened last weekend, and maybe we can brush over some of that.
Definitely.
Our opponents next Sunday, and the return of our favourite song, and we'll also be saying hi to Philip Holman.
Hello, I'm Philip Holman.
Hi, Philip Holman. Hello.
Hello.
Can I talk a little bit about Philip Holman first of all? Because,
Absolutely.
Philip is he's a brilliant little midfielder. He came from Zbrojovka Brno, extremely talented. He's been out injured for a while, hasn't he? And
yeah, we've missed him.
We definitely miss him. He's a big personality on the pitch. And I would actually go as far to say that if you ask Ladja Krejci of the Czech Republic who his favourite midfield partner is, I think he might even mention that playing with Philip Holman was one of the best things ever. We'll have to ask him. If we can get him on the show, that would be great.
Well, that's another thing. We will be having plenty of guests, hopefully, throughout the series, although we haven't decided how long that series will be. we will see.
Yeah.
Back to Philip Holman. He's the engine of FK Blansko, and we have missed him for the last season. But hopefully, any idea when he will be back?
No, I spoke to him yesterday, actually, and he's still got a niggling injury. He hopes he's running, but the groin still hurts. So, no, it's a massive shame. But get well soon, Philip, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the pitch.
So, a little bit about us. I mean, it's fair to say that we get around the lower leagues of Czech football a bit. So we'll be bringing you news about things outside of Blansko as well, not just FK Blansko related news, although, of course, that's basically what we're basing most of this on. And we'll be doing deep dives into the places we visit too. So why? Why the Blansko Klobása? What do we do?
Well, I suppose, it's exactly what you just said. We travel around. We usually by train. We try and avoid buses and rail replacement buses, and we just go and watch the team play. But often, we go and watch other teams. On Friday, I was watching Břeclav and things like that. But I suppose we call it ground hopping. I'm not sure if you would, Craggy. Yeah. But I call it ground hopping. I just love watching lower league football. And I don't know, the reason is because there's always that kind of element of surprise, isn't there?
Yeah, well, that's the next question. It's not just about what we do, but what do you say when people ask you why we do it? Because often we get quite confused looks of why are we doing this?
I suppose, football is a massive excuse, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because we just love travelling around this country, not just the Czech Republic, but Slovakia, Hungary, Austria, Poland.
Yeah, wherever we can, really.
And just a football match at the end of it kind of just, I don't know, it just adds to the excitement, really.
Well, it gives you a reason to go somewhere you'd never usually go in it, let's be honest. There are many places, some of them we can't remember, some tiny villages. Remember being recommended the best Klobása in, was it Moltnice?
Moltnice,
right, we know some people from Moltnice now. And, we would never have gone there maybe if we had never been given this recommendation.
I remember reading up about Moltnice, and do you remember it was like the population?
Yeah.
The ethnic diversity or whatever. And it was like 3% Peruvian. And I think we saw all of them at the game, didn't we?
Yeah, it was really interesting, wasn't it? It was quite funny. It's like 3% Peruvian. Interesting place for people to be, and it was great. Great atmosphere at the game, and it seemed a bit of a local legend, can I say, or celebrity maybe. Let's say.
And I think that's it. Like ground hopping is pretty similar. I think if you ask most ground hoppers, some really just go and watch football, and you can see them taking photos, and they leave after like 70 minutes, and then there's us that kind of like travel a little bit, and it's really. As I said, maybe I mentioned it earlier, it's that element of surprise. Sometimes you see a brilliant goal. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, there's the perfect Klobása. Sometimes it's kind of like the vista. and I don't know if you remember us watching Dosta Bistritz all those years ago, and there was a rather portly figure, it wasn't me, in the centre circle, and he just ran the show.
Yeah, it was a fantastic performance.
He was he was Maradona-esque, but Maradona at the end of his career.
Yeah.
And he was superb,
you made a comment about that in the blog, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Is he still after you?
He is, actually. Well, I think he is. I don't know. I'll have to check with Martin, a friend of mine. He was the one that told me that he wasn't very happy about it. Yeah, but, kind of like it's the stadiums. It's like local fans. It's, it's the views, quite often the views. Everything, every trip offers something, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, talking about the views as well, it's something that we will dive into a lot more during the show over the coming months and whatever, about certain views, just off the top of my head, thinking about Boskovica and the view of the castle, for example. It's very nice. Yeah. We're talking about some of those players as well. You do see some proper moments of if you want to call it brilliance, but you see some proper experience in the leagues from players.
We have seen some rubbish there. When you talk about Boskovica, I don't think we've ever seen a goal there.
No, maybe not. No, but that's my experience in the whole of Hungary. So one day I'll hopefully see a goal there as well.
Yeah, no.
And I remember that player from Roberto Baggio at Palava as well.
Oh, right, down in Mikulov, went to a goulash fest.
Yeah.
It really had what is it, like a pigtail?
Yeah, something, I don't know. But he was definitely a star. Well, certainly in his mind. I don't know.
Definitely, yeah. I don't think he was as good as Roberto Baggio, to be quite fair.
No, maybe not. But it was enjoyable for us anyway.
So what have you been up to then? I mean, what have you been up to since we last met?
Since we last met, we only met yesterday.
A barbecue. Sorry, I mean, for the listeners, I was thinking since we last met, meaning that's the first point as well.
Well, maybe you can talk about things that, we can talk about things certainly since the last Blansko game we attended, which was the pre-season friendly
with Bohunice
at Blansko.
I mean... You've been down to watch your Villa play.
And that's where what I was leading to. Next, we went down to Trnava to see Villa against Trnava. And it was a brilliant experience. Very bizarre in a way to hear all these Brummy accents in Trnava. But it was a great experience to be there and see some of the new young players playing for Villa. But it wasn't the game of the century, was it?
I don't know. For me, as somebody who's not interested in Trnava or Villa, I found it quite boring, but I suppose it would have been the same if you'd have gone to watch Swansea play, because last weekend I was watching Swansea in Austria, which is a real treat for me, and I'm sure that was for you. And I did the same thing. I kind of looked at the younger players to see who's coming through, and that was the enjoyment that I got from that week, game, should I say. So I suppose it's the same experience, or it would have been the same experience. But the highlight for me of that was just basically the train journey. It's incredible. It was actually incredible, but not our train journey back.
No, we can talk about that one. Was it 2.5 hours delayed?
That's right, yeah. And our whole plan for last weekend was on Sunday to hike a little bit around Vysočina and to take in the Blansko Star game.
Yeah, which we were really looking forward to. And
what happened?
Yeah, well, at least we didn't get to see what happened. So obviously they changed the game to Saturday. And we're always, we support Blansko come rain or shine. It doesn't matter the result. We have a lot of fun. But we do want to see a cup run, don't we? One year.
We played Sparta Prague away, which was like a dream tie because they are the biggest club in the Czech Republic.
What year was that?
It was COVID. I know that we couldn't go. They moved the game from Letna to their training ground, and it was watched by a handful of people, but that was like a dream. And, we haven't really had a good cup run for a long time.
No.
We played Zlín, but that wasn't really much of a game. We were out of it within the first half.
Remember we were at Tishnov once, weren't we?
Tishnov, that went to penalties. But again, that was like preliminary, wasn't it? But I think the most frustrating thing for us this time was that, they changed the game, they changed the time and the day, the last moment.
And we couldn't go.
Yeah.
I
and we were 4-0 down at half time, so maybe it is better that we didn't go. But, I think the players were as frustrated as we were. I mean,
yeah, of course you would be, wouldn't you?
I think there's a lot we could say, but I'd rather not. Not on the first cast, not on the first cast.
But I was, it's a funny place, Sjar, isn't it? Because I mean, we have a lot of puns about Sjar, Bridge to Sjar.
It was a Bridge to Sjar.
It was then, yeah. But we haven't been back for a few years, have we? So I was quite looking forward to another trip to Sjar. It had become a little bit boring, repetitive, but it was great, the idea of going back again. But not to be. No.
I think that adventure of kind of like, because we hike a bit now. I think it's like, that adventure of kind of like finding our way towards the ground, but via, I don't know, a 10-kilometer hike and a beer and a klobása would have been quite exciting.
Yeah,
and then the result maybe wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, Zelenahora, which is under UNESCO.
Yeah. And it'll have to be for a future pod then if we ever get to Sjar again.
But
we've had some times there, haven't we?
Yeah.
Obviously, I lost a beer glass in Sjar.
Yeah, that was an accurate hit, wasn't it?
That was it.
Yeah.
Good
substitute, or maybe he wasn't. I don't know. Was he going for goal or was he going for the glass?
Well, he got the glass pretty well. A brand new pint straight out of my hand.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, we're moving on till next Sunday. We're at home.
They kind of moved the game, I mean, it was supposed to be Saturday and now it's Sunday at 10:15.
Which suits me, luckily, this time.
And I'm a big fan of 10:15 kickoffs. I know a lot of fans are not, but I think for a groundhopper, 10:15 gives you the chance to maybe even see 3 games in a day.
Well, so, yeah, definitely.
If you wanted to do that. So we're looking forward to it. We're playing against Znojmo. I mean, a place that you know quite well.
Yeah, I mean, Znojmo we could talk about a lot, really. I do. My wife is from Vranov nad Dyje, and so I've spent a lot of time in Znojmo. Beautiful city. I no doubt we'll be there again this season.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, the thing about Znojmo, Znojmo, as Matt Losboya calls them.
Who we'll be talking to later.
Like I read, an official statement because nobody knew whether they'd actually take their place in the MSFL this year. Znojmo are a team that were actually in the top league a few years ago, but they've overspent, and there was a statement released regarding the future of the club earlier in the week before they actually confirmed their place, saying that they'd overspent by 14 million crowns. They weren't getting any money from the city anymore. The current owner, who was, I think, American or maybe even Portuguese, I'm not sure, to be honest, he decided he didn't want to put any money in. The players have moved to Thailand, to Slovakia, back to Portugal. Nobody had trained. There was no pre-season.
Well, it doesn't come as much of a surprise, really, does it? Because when we saw them away to Bohunice, did they even have a check on the pitch? Checking the team, I mean.
No, and even when we saw them in the spring season against us, we drew 1-1. There was no check. It's very rare at this level because, this level is all about kind of almost trying to produce your own homegrown players or, like loans from the bigger clubs just for a season, which is what Blansko do, really. We rely heavily on players coming in for a season or two and then moving on more back to their, their mother club. So it's, Znojmo is a really strange project. Obviously it wasn't sustainable. I mean, it can't have been because those players, I don't know. I mean, were they putting everything into getting into League Two?
Well, it was interesting when we watched them, didn't it? Because, I mean, I of course, we're not there. You can't say for sure, but they didn't look like they were playing as a team at all when we watched them. Very unpredictable. Some definite talent there, wasn't there? But it just didn't, you weren't sure what you were watching, really.
Well, they've signed up for the Musafala, for the Moravske Silesian Football League this season. But who knows what kind of team they'll put out? I think I've got a feeling that they'll put out the youth team, which means that it could be an easy game for us. But on paper, at the beginning when it was drawn, I was like, oh no, not Znojmo, because I thought Znojmo would be up there. Yeah. But I think now, they're going to be down near the bottom until they start signing players. If they haven't had a pre-season, they forfeited their cup game against Tassovice, local rival. So
Tassovice are another one. Memories of it.
Yeah, great memories. I've got good memories there as well, actually, and bad memories.
They're both,
definitely with that wine glass and an angry man. Yeah. So we'll see what Sunday brings. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting back into the Sleeper, our local pub.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely, and our usual space. getting, with Wingy again. He's going to be here for this one.
He'll definitely be there.
But he's going to miss the next one, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be watching the mighty Swansea against the mighty Borough.
Yeah, well, I feel like you said, I think Borough favourites.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say so.
Okay,
anyway,
well, I'll keep Wingy happy. So, one piece of news that we can say is FK Blansko news is the return of our favourite song.
We've got Tommy Schmurder. Oh, he gets away with murder. Oh, he never gives the ball away. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The return of Tommy Schmurder.
Matt Harrison would be happy about this one.
Absolutely. I might even see if Matt wants to sing the song for us. Yeah.
yeah.
But Tommy Schmurder, he does get away with murder.
Yeah.
And he never gives the ball away. I'm really pleased to see him back, actually, because he's homegrown.
Yeah.
He's, he played for us, I think, when he was 16, went away because, we invested heavily into the team and he wasn't getting enough opportunities when we rose to the second league. So it's great to see him back at 26 years old, I think, like he's, or 25. Dommy can probably tell us how old he is. If he wants to.
Hopefully, yeah. It was interesting to see how he was going to fit back in it, because obviously things change and move on, and then you see a return of a player like Tommy Schmurder, and we're very happy to have him back, definitely. But when we saw him a little bit in pre-season, he looked pretty good, didn't he? Pretty up for it.
Scored a fantastic goal actually against Bohunic. I think you missed it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were checking your Instagram.
Sadly.
Yeah, really happy to have him back.
So what are we looking forward to in the new season?
Well, like with every season, it's the trips. It's the trips. I'm looking forward to going back to Znojmo. Actually, I'm looking forward to going to Lubina. In Ostrava, it's kind of like a ground where the backdrop is the Vitkovice Steelworks. It's wonderful. Friedeck Mistake. There's a lot of mistakes there.
Well, that FK Klobása was a mistake.
Oh my God, that was a big mistake. Yeah, like going to Trinec. It was going to be a cup run, but that doesn't really happen. I don't know. We've been following the same team because we've had a bit of stability in the team for the last few years.
Yeah, which makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
And I think just seeing the players, I think we can say now that we have a real connection with them, which for one reason or another we didn't feel a few years ago. And
there was a certain period, wasn't there?
Yeah, but now there's a very strong bond, and I think that they appreciate our support, even though games are quiet. We don't bang the drum anymore. But what are you looking forward to?
For me, it's the same as always. It's interesting, like you said earlier. You said for me, it's probably not the ground hopping, but of course I enjoy going to the grounds. But I don't see it in the same way, this idea of ground hopping. It's a massive thing for a lot of people. For me, really, it's traveling. I mean, I said to you countless times, probably, sometimes when you have that journey back on the train and the sun is going down and you feel really good about this great day you've had in a new town and exploring new bars and new histories of places. Yeah. It's exciting, it's exciting. I'd rather be, and this is why we also go to games which aren't Blansko. We sometimes go to other games in other towns because we want to try new areas and things. So for me, this is it really. But from a Blansko point of view, I'm quite looking forward to seeing some of the old players coming back in that have been away for a while, we can say. Yeah. Really hope that Holman can make it back at some point. Yeah. And always excited for a new season.
Yeah. That's why, seriously, I can't wait for Saturday. I have to find out if we've got season tickets. Sunday, yeah.
Don't turn up on Saturday.
No, Saturday I've got
they might change it again.
Plan for Saturday, actually.
Where are you going Saturday?
I don't know. Probably I might go back to Kruzin because I like standing on that kind of mound and just looking down at the ground. It's and they play great football, and they're back in Divize for the first time in like 20 odd years, I think. And then probably in the afternoon I'll find another game, but I'm not sure which one. Probably somewhere near Brno. I'm not sure where yet. But the plan is to do that. And when you talk about kind of like, I think that's the thing about football. We all enjoy it in different ways. So for me, it is about the stadium. It is about like local fans and stuff. And for some people, it's just about the game. So
and that's fine. But I guess we're adventurous in the way that we attend these games, we can say.
Definitely. Like I think we can honestly say it's something that we always look forward to, whether it's, whether it's the travel or whether it's the game. It's always better if we travel and we get a couple of, goals and a 3-point win.
Certainly. Yeah. Okay, so what's up next then, Ralph?
Well, one of the things that we want to do is we want to bring guests, to every show. And this week's guest is, I call him a Malaga super fan. It's a fellow Welshman and a fellow groundhopper. It's Matt Losboyo. Matt's somebody who, when he was living in Slovakia, he watched Blansko with us quite a few times, actually. He really got on board with it, and I think he just really enjoyed the days out. I think...
he loved the songs as well.
He loved the songs.
We'll ask him about that.
So many videos there. So probably now I'd like to try and get hold of Matt and... and then we can introduce him, get himself to introduce himself, actually.
Well, probably better than the job than we'll do.
Definitely better than what we'll do. This is our first podcast.
pilot.
He's quite an experienced podcaster. I think he has 3 on the go at the moment.
He's got a book as well, didn't you say?
He's got a book coming out. We're definitely going to talk about that.
Okay.
So shall I try and get hold of Matt?
Yeah, let's do it.
Matt, welcome. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am Matt Harrison. I am originally from the infamous town of Merthyr Tydfil in South Wales, in the valleys. I've not lived there for a long time. I did my teacher training in Liverpool and got a job in Manchester. As you guys are very much aware, somehow I ended up in Slovakia, went back to the UK for a year, and now I live in sunny Marbella, and I am very much a season ticket holder at Malaga Club de Football.
So very quickly, how was your time in Slovakia?
Oh, God, I loved it. It's what a country. I think, obviously, it's, I don't know, people see it as quite a quirky thing that I live there, but I think, as you guys will attest to, it's a beautiful country, great people. I encourage anyone to go to that part of the world, and of course to, the neighbors around it as well, in Czech Republic, Austria, Hungary. I loved it. It was so much fun. And I know I was very jealous the other day. I saw that Ralph was in Trnava watching football, and it did make me.
So was I, obviously.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you were there as well.
It was the Villa game, wasn't it?
It was the Villa game. Of course you were there. Of course, yeah. I didn't even know they were playing Aston Villa, but yeah, it did sort of. I did, when I saw the photos, my heart did go a bit off.
Matt, Craigie wouldn't have seen the DMs beforehand, but you sent me a message to say that you needed 10 minutes because you're in a dive bar opposite the hotel. So my question is, it's a Spanish dive bar. What does it look like?
Basically, the floor was covered in betting slips and bread, because it was basically, I thought, I'll get back to my hotel because there is a bar in my hotel, but for some reason it's closed at the moment. It was open yesterday, so I don't know if it's closed for the day. So I thought I'll just go to that place called Bar Paraíso across the road. It's, Paradise Bar, and yeah, it was lots of betting machines, horse racing on the TV.
Was it busy or?
Pardon?
Was it busy?
Yeah. It was, well, just as I was leaving, it sort of emptied out. But I guess everyone's going back for their sort of afternoon siesta now, because, like I said, it's where I am. I'm in a town, or a city, I guess, called Avila, which is between Salamanca and Valladolid. It's very, very hot here. It's sort of 36 degrees, I think, at the moment. So
I know you're on a break from school at the moment. So, I mean, where are you heading? Are you heading back to Marbella?
This is it. So basically, my flat in Marbella is quite common. Quite a lot of my colleagues have the same thing. I get kicked out of my flat in the summer.
Wow. Because
for a lot of people, it's because the flat owners want to make more money off Airbnb and stuff. It's a bit different for me, whereas my landlady and her husband, it's their holiday home. So it's cool in a way for me, because it means I don't pay rent for 2 months and I get to do random traveling. This summer the plan was I went to a wedding in Bristol at the start of the summer. So of course I crossed over to the homeland, went back to Wales briefly, and then I flew to Porto, and I thought I'll just travel around this part of, that northern Portugal and then cross over into northern Spain. And initially the plan was to make my way south. Then the Malaga fixtures came out, and Malaga's first game of the season is away at a team called Racing Ferrol, which is in a city about as north of Spain as you could go. So I'm on my way to that game, which doesn't kick off for 3 weeks.
Wow, lovely. That sounds absolutely fantastic. That leads me on to it. I know you're a Swans fan like me, and but you follow your local team, you follow Malaga. How easy is it to get, because we're attached to Blansko, it didn't take too long. We're really in with the players and people at the club. How easy is it for you to get attached to? Malaga are a big team, really, aren't they? So,
well, I'd say if you're a Brit abroad, and you're in Spain, and obviously there's quite a lot of Brits in Spain, you probably wouldn't find I don't think you could find an easier club to find a gateway into than Malaga, because of course, Malaga's on the Costa del Sol. There's a lot of, as they're called, guiris down there, which is the sort of Spanish word for foreigners, basically. But it's a funny word that's tied up with. There's a little bit of an insult in there as well, but it's sort of been, I guess, reclaimed by foreigners. A Giri is generally a Northern European that looks out of place in Spain, but Malaga have the Giri Army, which is quite a famous supporters group, which is all Brits that have moved to Spain and go to watch Malaga. So, as a Welshman, I've got used to it now, but where I sit in the stadium, there's a huge England flag in front of me with Giri Army written across it. Accepted, it doesn't upset me too much these days, sort of being linked with that flag. But so when I first went there, social media and things like that, I think I posted I was going to try and meet up with the Giri Army, and they took me in straight away. And it's just, and it's not just people who live in Spain. I have a lot of friends now who they found their way to Malaga through the Giri Army and things like that, and they come over. Some of my friends, they're crazy. My friend, for example, Paul, who lives in Dundee, he's a Dundee United fan, must come over to about 13 or 14 home games a season, and
wow,
and does away games and stuff. So it's really good in that way. I'd say the flip side of that, and I talked about this with a guy called Miguel Pereira, who's a Portuguese guy that's writing a book about Spanish football at the moment. I suppose the negative side of it is it's great to get in there, but then you do sort of worry, I live in Spain. I don't want to get caught up in this sort of British bubble. I want to embrace sort of Spanish culture and, local Spaniards too. So I guess with Malaga, the Giri Army have been so good to me. So I still generally, before home games, we go to the same bar down the road from Malaga Stadium, La Rosaleda, and it's great. We just drink in the street outside the bar. I say sometimes it's a bit like football fan speed dating, because there's always new people there, and they're so who do you support? I support Aberdeen, and then you talk about Aberdeen, and then occasionally there'll be people from Wales, and it's great. It's so. Like you said, it's sort of moving to a different country. Obviously, it's a bit of upheaval, but...
How does it differ from Slovak or Czechoslovak football culture, for example?
Wow, that's a big question. I guess obviously I lived in Trnava in Slovakia, which is perhaps the most football-centric city of Slovakia. And obviously Spain is it's a huge football country. They're obsessed with it. This is typical, there's newspapers dedicated to what they ostensibly say is sport, but mostly football, obviously with a large focus on Real Madrid and Barcelona. But I don't know really in regards of I don't know, in the stands and stuff. Same as Czech Republic and Slovakia, really, I guess, where you have your non-league stadiums with people just sitting pitch side drinking beers, but then you have I guess Spain compared to Czech Republic and Slovakia has these bigger clubs. Whereas because, Malaga have just been in the third tier. Hopefully we'll get on to talking about them, but how they got promoted. But like this La Rosaleda, it's incredible. Like the atmosphere there is nuts. It's and even more so last year. There was a Norwegian guy sitting next to me in the playoff final first leg, and I realized he wasn't like a full Malaga fan. So I sort of eventually asked him like, "Oh, where are you from?" And he said he's from Norway, and he said, "I feel like I'm at Boca Juniors," because it's nuts there.
It looks magical. I have to say that. I have to say that the La Rosaleda. How do you say it?
La Rosaleda, which
La
means
Rosaleda.
rose garden.
It looks amazing because you post a lot of videos. I mean, the place where you stand is right in the corner, isn't it?
So I'm
the scarf waving and stuff like that. It's incredible to watch.
We call it, it's called, it's officially Zona 538, but we sort of jokingly call it Geary Corner. But yeah, like it's like you've got a view of the whole stadium. We're just above, like to the right of the Ultras. So we do pick up on the sort of Ultras atmosphere too. You've got like the mountains in the background. Obviously, it's Spain. So we have quite a lot of, well, I was going to say we have quite a lot of late kickoffs. We had quite a lot of midday kickoffs last year, but like I always say, like La Rosaleda at, I don't know, an 8 or 9 p.m. kickoff and the sun setting, it's like I do go, well, yeah, this is pretty special. And essentially it's just a huge concrete bowl, but it's it's stunning.
It looks magical. I'd love to go there. I'd love to go there, definitely. Just going back to what Craigie asked about, Czech and Slovak football, are there any aspects of like watching football in Central Europe that you miss?
Yeah, absolutely. I would, funnily enough, I host a podcast with my brother called Platini Played for Kuwait. Yeah. And we did, I know, as Ralph has been on, we did like a best of our travels episode this week.
Yeah, I listened to it yesterday.
Oh, good. And my brother, we're both, we're brothers, so we're from Merthyr Tydfil. He chose to talk about cob and chips at Merthyr Town. And it did make me think when he chose that on reflection that, Spanish football food, not that great. It's like,
what is Spanish football food?
Well, I guess the thing is the sunflower seeds, which like if you go to any Spanish football stadium by full time, the floor's covered in like shells. But yeah, the tradition is they bring bocadillos, and bocadillos are basically just sandwiches, but like a roll, like a big roll. But at halftime, you always see people unfolding their like tin-foiled, like home-prepared bocadillos. So people don't really buy food in the stadium. And yeah, like I was saying yesterday, like, you guys do a blog and, hopefully continue doing a podcast with the name Klobása in the title. And I loved a good Klobása. These days I'm vegetarian, so my Klobása days are behind me. But I was saying to Mark on the podcast yesterday, I used to love Giganska Pechienka, which was like the sort of mustardy chicken.
In a bun, wasn't it? It's very Slovak.
Yeah, definitely didn't see it I don't think I ever saw it in the Czech Republic, actually.
No.
Because obviously they were more Klobása oriented, but I used to love it. It was always so good. So, and also just like, there was a bit more, because I guess football is not as big a thing, or certainly like watching local football in Slovakia or Czech Republic is not as much of a thing as Spain, like, just sitting pitch side with a beer and eating your Klobása or your Giganska Pechienka. It was just a bit, I guess, like in regards to sort of ground hopping as well. I wasn't as invested in a team. So yeah, when I think about like watching football in that part of the world, I just think they're just being like nice, relaxed. I think the grounds are so much more varied in that part of the world. Like in Spain, like I would say here, like the big clubs, the stadiums are just like immense. Like even the new stadiums, where I think I said on the Platini podcast that when they renovate a stadium here, they get it right every single time. They're brilliant. But if you go to like non-league football in Spain, it's usually, plastic pitch, municipality sort of generic stands and stuff. You do get your outliers, but I would say, the sort of lower league stuff in Czech Republic and Slovakia is the thing I perhaps miss the most, because every ground had this, different quirks. And obviously it's not great that they're run down, but I do prefer rundown grounds.
I mean, is there like a favourite stadium from Slovakia or from the Czech Republic that you really enjoy going to?
That's a good question. Obviously, like I used to live down the road from Spartak Trnava Stadium, which is also Slovakia's national football stadium. I think still. I know there's a new one in Bratislava, but they still seem to use
Trnava. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that stadium as like new stadiums go. There's like the one that always sticks in my head, and like straight away off the, like I'll probably think later of some other like genius place which I forgot to mention, but I always like this little club called Bahon, which is between Trnava and Slovakia, and basically it's not really a ground there. It's sort of like a pitch in a sort of a grassy bowl. I think I went there in the first few months I lived, or maybe first few weeks I lived in Slovakia, and it was still like a sunny day. And that's the one that always sort of jumps to mind. Czech Republic, I'm not just saying it. I love Blansko's ground. Blansko's.
You came to a few Blansko games, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I only went to the one home game. I think I went to Kunovice with you and Vyškov, the other one.
Vyškov, yeah, I remember.
Which again, Vyškov wasn't, basically like an athletic stadium, isn't it?
It was a great trip.
Definitely a good trip. What was your highlight of kind of like watching Blansko?
I think the Vyškov trip was definitely the highlight. I think we've talked before about it, that like you just said to me, if you think of something to sing, just sing it. And to this very day, and I'm not just saying this, that anytime I'm in a bar, or anytime I hear Human League, Don't You Want Me Baby, I automatically think of Don't You Want Me Gromsky. I always remember I decided to sing Dignity by Deacon Blue and just...
It was fantastic, that was. Yeah, that was a great time.
We still sing it from time to time, yeah.
Okay. Then my other highlight of that day was, I can't even remember how it happened, but I remember on like the 90th minute, we started singing the Only Fools and Horses theme song.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And I can't even remember why, but...
I don't, but I just remember being in tears of laughter.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that's the whole thing about watching Blansko. It's a day out. It should be that way. I mean, one of our favourite players, Domi Schmurda, has just returned to the club. So,
oh my God, has he?
Yeah. That's a better player. So he knows the song's coming back.
Was he on loan there, or he was quite young, wasn't he, when he was there?
No, he was 16, 17 when he first started. That season, he was 16, 17 when he started playing for us. And now he must be, 25? So he's back. Yeah, he's back at the club. It's great to have him back.
Yeah.
And also, it's sort of, I guess, it's Blansko adjacent, but it is still involved Blansko. Of course, the moment we got Paul Bowden to present me with a Blansko shirt is still the most random moment of my life.
Thinking about that the other day as well, actually. Because when I went to watch Swansea play in Austria, I was sat with all the players. All the players, like the subs, were sat around us because there wasn't enough room anywhere else. So I had a chat with Joey Allen, and I was thinking, if Matt Lostboyo was here, I would have.
I've got his shirt now, so it's okay. No, I actually got it with me now. I've sort of have a connection with a certain kit man. It got me, not a Swansea kit man, another club that sorted me out with Joe Allen's shirt.
Yeah, man.
Matty, well, it's great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. You're writing a book, aren't you? Now, I hear.
I'm trying, yeah. I've written a big chunk of it.
When can we expect to see that then?
Well, the plan is this summer to write it. I've been writing it throughout the season, so it's about my travels with Malaga this past season. Although it does sort of jump about into other parts of my Malaga fandom and like how I ended up there, and so the plan is to get it all, like half of it's written. I've got people sort of editing it and checking it now. And then at the end of the summer, I'm going to try pitch it to some publishers. Some people have already, got me in touch with people. So I don't know, but yeah, hopefully it'll be done by the end of August. It's going to be called, it's called Down the Well, because the Spanish third division is called El Pozo, the well, because, you know, supposedly once you fall down it, you don't get out. Yeah, so Down the Well, a season with Malaga, and yeah, it's just going to be about my last season with Malaga, which
And will you join us again when you're famous?
yeah, of course.
We'd love to see you out here, or maybe we can have a trip over there.
Okay.
But just to finish off, like, I know that you talked a lot about kind of like Malaga. Can you just tell us what was your highlight of last season?
The ending. It's the best thing I've seen in football. So for those that don't know, Malaga got to the playoffs. They beat Celta Vigo's B team to get to the playoff final, which was 2 legs against Nastic, or Gimnastic de Tarragona. Malaga won 2-1 in Malaga in the first leg. So they went to Tarragona, which is near Barcelona, ahead. And Malaga, basically, they had to win, because there's this weird thing where if Malaga had drawn the playoff after 120 minutes, Tarragona would have gone up because they'd finished higher in their league. They're not even in the same league as Malaga, which was very annoying. So they went out to 10 men. They were absolutely be careful here. They were a bit of a disgusting football club, actually. They were really shit houses. So they went 2-0 up. So as in the away end, and yeah, it was just like shell shock in the away end. It was about 12 minutes ago, I think. And people were in tears. People were just like, couldn't believe that Malaga had messed it up. And then we have a 17-year-old kid that half Irish, half Spanish, called Aaron. He came off and just changed everything. He was ultra attacking. He's played a bit throughout the season. We knew he had something about him. He took a shot, got saved, but we scored the rebound. And then it was just this nervous silence for the last 10 minutes. Game got suspended for 7 minutes because their fans kept throwing the ball on the pitch. And yeah, basically it got to the 122nd minute, and it's like, it just looked like it wasn't going to happen for us. And then ball bobbles around the box, falls to this 17-year-old kid who, last kick of the game, puts it in the back of the net, and it's chaos.
Wow, what an ending to the season. What an ending to the season.
And then
Matt, we are out of time.
Okay.
I mean, you know that I could talk to you forever about this, and we really want to get you back on the show.
Yeah.
Who would you, if you were to recommend a guest to us, who would you recommend?
Mark Lostboyo.
I'm going to get him on, because I'd love to, because it would be very interesting about, like him moving back to Britain and how his experience.
Yeah, well, that's what I was interested in asking him about yesterday quite a lot, like how has he adapted, having lived in Asia for so long. But he seems to have adapted well.
Hey, safe travels. Thank you very much for the Forza Blansko, because the team, the club still use that as their tagline.
Yeah.
So that's your work. Unbelievable. Yeah, you that came up with it, yeah.
If you remember.
And we'll definitely
I know I used to say Forza Blansko, but I didn't know that I invented it.
Hey, thanks for being our first guest.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely post this very, very soon, hopefully before the weekend. Yeah. And Forza Blansko, Forza Malaga.
Take care.
See you, mate. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so thanks very much to Matt Lostboyo for joining us. This, as we said at the top of the show, this is our pilot show, so we'll be working on it, and we'll be continuing to explore some of the fun that we have with the Blansko Klobása. So thanks for tuning in. That's it from me.
And that's it from me.
See you later.
See you later.